who in the world is buying in this real estate market?
This morning, Seattle bracing for more chaos.
Every homeless camp I've gone past, you see somebody shooting drugs.
It's a part of Portland's landscape.
So my class decided to stand but not say the words. Totally fine. Except for the fact that my room does not have a flag. It used to be there, but I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable.
The median sales price jumped 6.5% month over month. See, in April, the median sales price jumped 6.5%, but the month before that, it dropped from February. The month before that, it rose, and now we're on this up and down cycle. This market is so unstable, and in April, the median sales price jumped $30,000. See, right here, it shows that our inventory only increased 17%, which I was afraid of. You see, when the inventory is not increasing as high and the demand, see, our demand is still low. Our sales are down 20% year over year, and our pending sales are down roughly around 35%. Our demand is still low, but our supply is not getting better. We've been hovering around that 1,200, 1,100 in Ada County as far as our inventory goes. Last year, in the whole year of 2022, our sales dropped 20%. According to this graph from Boise Regional Realtors, it shows that there was only a 17% increase in inventory year over year, but our sales are still down 21%. So our sales are still decreasing, but our median sales price is increasing. And this is what I was afraid of the stagflation. And when I saw that the median sales price jumped, I had to ask myself, who in the world is buying in this market? And what we ended up seeing is out of all of these home buyers, 150 of these home buyers were buyers buying cash. 350 of these buyers in Ada County purchasing in conventional. The cash median sales price was right around $519,000. The median sales price for conventional is $540,000. So this is where the buyers come in, because when we look at the FHA and VA buyers, those median sale prices are under 500. We're talking about 430 and 480 for the median sales price for the VA and FHA borrowers. And like I said before, our inventory is only up 17%. And if you've been watching our videos, we said we need to see more inventory to help us from hitting this stagflationary market. The price has increased in Ada County. Doesn't mean that homes aren't selling for under the listed price. And if you see a home that you like, there is a chance you could offer and get a price underneath. We've shared this multiple times with you. We have clients that are willing to make offers, and if it's not a good enough offer for them, then they'll walk away from it. And so there have been times where we get a seller that's willing to drop the price, maybe $20,000, $30,000, depending on the price range, maybe even more than that. But it may not be good enough for our clients, and so then they decide to walk away. The reason one of these cash buyers is buying, and I got to bring it up to you guys, is they did the math. They said, okay, right now we're paying $3,000 a month, which is roughly $36,000 a year. So in 2 years, we would have paid $72,000 in rent. Now this is just their 2 years. Even if they buy a house and the property value decreases $50,000, they're still ahead $22,000. And back in 2007 to 2011, that's a 4-year from peak to trough. If they have to hold out for another 3 years, 4 years, depending on how long it would have to be, then they would be even further ahead if they just bought a home that they liked. Okay, so median sales price of cash buyers, $520,000. If it decreases 20%, that's $100,000. Well, in this scenario, these guys who are renting, they decided to buy. After 2 years, they're almost breaking even. After 3 years, now they're ahead, even if the market corrects 20%. And if it takes an additional year, 4 years before we hit the bottom, again, then they're going to be even further ahead. So I often ask people who reach out to me, whether they're clients or customers just inquiring about buying real estate right now, is we ask, Are you going to be in it for 10 years or more? If you're going to be in it for 10 years, then hey, last time we saw a correction or a crash, it took about 10 years for you to get your equity back. Then the second thing we always want to ask is, are you mentally aware or prepared to see the home value decrease? Now, it's not guaranteed. There's a lot of things that are brewing that show that it should decrease, but it doesn't mean it's going to decrease, right? We could see another rise, especially with everything changing from the 40-year mortgage to rumors of an interest-only payment loan coming out to the people who have bad credit and a low down payment. They're getting rewarded versus those who have good credit and a higher down payment. There's a lot of things sitting here in our housing market that look like a crash, even a bigger crash than what we saw from May of last year. Is it going to happen in 6 months, 2 years, 3 years? I don't know, because we don't know what's going to, current administration is going to put into place, whether they're trying to get reelected or whatever it may be. And I was at Home Depot and I ran into a friend of mine who is an investor, and he's made a lot of money investing in real estate. I just asked him, hey, what do you have any projects going on? What's going on here today? And as of this video, this was just a couple of days ago that I had this conversation with him. He said he currently has 4 houses on the market. One of them is going to be at a loss of $150,000. You heard me right. He's going to sell one property at a loss for $150,000. He has another property that's on the market, and he says, even if I sneeze wrong, then I'm going to start taking a loss on this property. I hear things like this. It's hard for me to not think that a storm is brewing. A storm is brewing and ready to fall. I'm going to tell you another example. I had coffee with a friend. He's a real estate agent. He's a really good real estate agent. And I said, hey, how's your business going this year? What's it looking like? He's like, well, I would have about 3 listings if my clients had equity to sell. When I sat down to meet with them and I said, okay, hey, where did this HELOC money go? They said, oh, well, you see that new car out there, you see that truck, you see the camper. We went out and bought those things instead of putting the money into a house or instead of investing that money. And so because they didn't invest that money, now they're upside down in their house. And in order for them to sell, they would have to bring money to the table. But not only that, would they have to bring money to the table, then they don't have any money to go towards a new house if they wanted to buy. So again, when I hear these stories, story after story after story of here, just talking to local people, whether they're locals here in the beginning or they moved here and I'm talking to them, I can't help but share with you guys, there's a storm brewing. And if this storm hits, it's going to be bad. We're going to just break down 2 payments with a mortgage calculator. And we're going to use the scenario of, we're going to look at the 2 different scenarios of versus a 3% down if they're a first-time home buyer and they're able to use conventional credit, or a 20% down loan. So we're going to look at both of these with the interest rate of 6.35, because again, the question goes to who is able to afford these mortgages. This mortgage calculator, if we use $123,800 as their loan amount. So let me plug that in right here, $523,800. We're going to assume that the interest rates, because they've been floating right around 6.1, 6.35. So 6.35, this is just their principal and then interest payment. So this doesn't include property taxes or your homeowner's insurance. Their payment is going to be $3,259 or $3,259 per month. You also have to add on property taxes, homeowner's insurance, and because they're only putting 5% down, they're going to have a personal mortgage insurance. And we're just going to assume that it's going to be right around $200 because they're putting 3% down. So if they have a $200 personal mortgage insurance, that means that their monthly payment before property taxes and insurance is going to be right around $3,460. So I just want to ask you guys to do something for me. I was helping a client. They were looking at relocating here, and I ended up convincing them to rent because I asked this simple question. Okay, look at what you're going to be paying in a monthly mortgage. Then compare that to what you can rent. First, you're relocating to an area you haven't been, and you don't want to buy a house that you're stuck in, right? You don't want to buy in an area that, wow, actually, all the community that I am with, even though I bought in North Meridian, maybe, all my communities in South Boise, or all my communities in the North End, or all my communities in Caldwell. So you then get this urge, well, I want to move closer to all my friends, but you can't because now you're upside down in a house. So these are just things that we bring up. So I brought up, okay, so let's say your mortgage is going to be $3,200 a month. Just jump on apartments.com, Zillow.com, and just see what you can rent for $3,200. Your mind is going to be blown. Sure, you're not going to be building up equity, but at the same time, if you can save $1,000 a month to having a more enjoyable life and live in a spot where, hey, I'm only tied down for 6 months or a year before I really figure out where I want to be, that might be a better option. Now, Some people come here, they want to buy and they know exactly where they want to be, and that's great and that's fine, and we help them. But that's something I want you to really consider. So now let's look at the other scenario. Let's say you sold your house and you have 20% down. So 20% down, this is going to be a little bit different, but on 20% down, $540,000 purchase, we're looking at a loan amount of $432,000. So let's put in that $432,000, which then gives us a payment of $2,700 before taxes and insurance. So you're not going to have personal mortgage insurance because you hit that 20% threshold. So $2,700. Now this one, now you're getting a little bit closer to, is it going to be better to buy or rent? Because when you're renting, what are you going to rent for $2,700 versus what are you going to buy? Plus, then you can change things and make them look the way you want. But we're still really high. Canyon County surprisingly has had a decrease month over month. In March, the median sales price was $395,000, and now it's $390,000. So that's not a huge, that's about a little over 1% change, but it is down month over month. Something I want to bring up too is that pending sales are down 32%. So kind of following along the same lines of Ada County. Ada County was right around that 35% decrease year over year for our pending sales, but our inventory is still lacking. We are seeing more inventory come on. For instance, I don't know if you guys have been following the market, you might have seen a house that was pulled off the market last October, November. It's now back on the market. We've seen a lot of those. Some of them are vacant, some of them are not. And then our year to date is down 20%. So last year, the whole IMLS, we dropped 20% in sales when we talked about 2021 versus 2022. And it looks like so far we're still on track to be 20% down this year, especially if that number of 25 year over year in April continues in Canyon County. So let's just jump in and see who are the people buying in Canyon County. So in Canyon County, roughly 373 homes were sold, according to IMLS, or according to the Boise Regional Realtors report that we're looking at. Out of these 373 borrowers, 300 buyers, roughly 49 of them were cash buyers, 175 of them were conventional buyers, and then the rest were VA, FHA, and miscellaneous. So 175 of them were conventional, and the median sales price was $395,000. When we jump into the FHA and VA borrowers, those drop, right? So FHA right now, the average buyer or the median sales price for the FHA buyer, $360,000 in Canyon County. The cash buyers are floating around $400,000. The only thing that jumped, really the median sales price that jumped over for the 400 mark was a private sale right around $500,000. Now, I'm not saying that this is the highest or the lowest because there's going to be hot homes. This is just the median. Just keep in mind, this is the median sales price for these areas. So these are the type of buyers that we're seeing. But real quick, let's just do a little month over month comparison. So when we're looking at March to April. So in March, our total solds were down 18%, roughly 18%. And now our solds are down 25%. Our inventory was up 58%. But there was a huge decrease right here. So when we should have seen a huge influx of inventory in April, we only are up 9.7% year over year for April. So that's not a good sign. That flags the stagflation that we warned about when that 40-year mortgage came out might become more real as this season comes up. How can you afford a home at $400,000 with 6.35 interest rates? And you're going to see there's a big jump in affordability. So keep in mind, for the borrower who was buying in Ada County and they were only putting 3 to 5% down, their mortgage was going to be right around $3,400 a month. Well, with the median sales price in Canyon County dropping almost $100,000 from Ada County, what you will see, it's about $130,000 roughly difference from Ada County to Canyon County. We're going to see the difference in the payment. So somebody who's putting 3% down, and we're just going to take an average. So let's say the loan amount is going to be $375,000. 30-year loan at 6.35. Their monthly payment is going to be right around $2,333. Now, again, this doesn't include property taxes, insurance, or personal mortgage insurance. So let's assume with a $375,000 loan, it's going to be $150. So their monthly payment is going to be right around $2,500 before property taxes and insurance. So $2,500 is a lot more obtainable or a lot more affordable than $3,400 before property taxes and insurance. I still think it's a little unaffordable, but it's a lot more affordable if you understand what I'm trying to say here. Let me share with you some real life examples of people who are helping buy in Gann County. So we have somebody who has a house under contract, right around $360,000. They're getting $20,000 for interest rate buy down, closing cost assistance, that kind of stuff. So that's helping them bring down their interest rate. He's planning on being here forever. So it makes sense for him to have a house because he can answer the question, yes, I am willing to have a house and be in it for 15, 20 years. The other thing that he answered yes to is I'm okay if my property value goes down because, again, I'm here for the long term. I'm a first time home buyer, and that's just what he wants to do. So he answered those questions. We can't answer them for you, but ask yourself the same question.